Good morning, friends. It's Alex. It's Friday, July 12th, 2024, and I am still under the weather. So I'm sorry I do not have a news show for you today, but I do have one that I really enjoy from back in March, the Superpower interview with Leila. So I hope you enjoy this episode. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'm also hoping to be back on Monday. From the KMNN studios, this is the Kids Morning News Network. Good morning. It's March 6th, 2024. I'm Alex in the KMNN studio in New York. We've got a big show today, our first ever Kids Morning News Network interview. 15-year-old Leila from Arizona is going to tell us all about her superpower.
Hey friends, I'm Leila and my superpower is type 1 diabetes.
We'll have more from Leila in just a couple of minutes. She has a lot of great insights. It is National Dentist Day. Now, I know sometimes we don't look forward to going to the dentist, but hey, imagine how tough life would be if we didn't have a dentist. All right, there are a couple of new basketball records to talk about this morning. LeBron James, who plays for the Los Angeles Lakers and is already a legend, became the first player in history to score more than 40,000 points in his professional career. If you think about the fact that most baskets are worth 2 points, some are worth 1, some are worth 3, 40,000 2 points at a time, that's a lot of baskets. And in college basketball, Caitlin Clark, who plays for the Iowa Hawkeyes, set the all-time NCAA scoring record with 3,668 points, the most points by any college basketball player ever. The NCAA is the organization that sets the rules for college sports. There are different leagues or divisions. Clark plays in Division I. That's for the biggest schools with the biggest sports programs. Before Caitlin Clark's record-setting game on Sunday, the record was held by Pete Maravich, who scored his 3,667th point in 1970, 54 years ago. He held the record a long time. One of the first people to send Caitlin Clark big congratulations for making history was LeBron James. I'm really psyched now because, like I said earlier this morning, we have the first ever Kids Morning News Network interview. KMNN's special correspondent, Sarah Adler, went to Arizona and spoke with Leila. Leila is 15 and living with type 1 diabetes. That's a condition where a person's body has a hard time making the hormone called insulin, and insulin breaks down sugar in the blood to turn it into energy. People who live with type 1 diabetes take extra insulin when they eat or when their blood sugar levels are too high. They can wear a small pump that gives them insulin automatically. As we'll hear, Leila does not let type 1 diabetes get in the way of being a kid. In fact, she says it's her superpower.
Today we have Leila joining us from the great state of Arizona, and she's here to talk about what it means to live with type 1 diabetes. Welcome, Leila.
Thank you for having me.
So, Leila, how long have you been living with type 1 diabetes?
I've been living with type 1 diabetes for like 6.5, almost 7 years.
Maybe you can sort of share with the listeners out there a little bit more about sugar levels and how your body feels when they're high or low.
When you go high, you kind of start to feel like sick, or like you just like very run down and tired, and like you move really slow. And then when you go low, it's like kind of the opposite, like your heart's racing, like you feel like very dizzy and like weighted down. There's so many factors that go into it. Like it's not just like oh, if I eat ice cream, like I'm gonna go high, and if I don't, then I'm gonna go low. Like there's so many factors. Like if you're sick, you could go high. I remember when I first got diagnosed and I started dancing, I would go high because of the adrenaline. But I think like with diabetes, the main thing is just time. You have to give it time, and over time you will learn like how to listen to your body better. And that's just kind of what I've gotten over like my almost 7 years of doing it.
And then when you go low, do you stop and do you make some adjustments?
Yeah, I definitely have moments where I go low and then I have to get back on track. Sometimes low blood sugars can like ruin how you feel for the rest of the day, and same with high blood sugars.
Does type 1 diabetes get in the way of doing what you love?
I don't think it does. I really think it's kind of a part of me, and I don't think that it would get in the way of anything that I would ever want to do. I love to dance. I love to do art. I love to hang out with friends. I love to hang out with my sister. I don't think anything in my life would ever be in conflict with type 1. If you're on a school field trip or something and you forget to take insulin, like ultimately you're still a kid and you have to live your life. Like you can't fault yourself for it. And I always say live life with no regrets. So I'm not going to regret a day that I forgot to take insulin.
Leila, why do you love to dance?
I feel like for dance, it's kind of like a space where I can just like not escape, but like I can get out all my emotions and I don't have to like speak it out to anyone or like explain it. And I feel like with diabetes, there's like a lot of storytelling that goes on. Like if you watch me dance or if you watch like any dance competitions, you can tell that like a lot of the dances have a story or like some type of thing that they're trying to portray. And I feel like I dedicate some of my dances to that, and it usually comes out better because once you like connect your dance to a feeling or something that you've gone through in your life, it always comes out better because you're like telling a story.
How do you listen to your body while dancing?
Just like I start losing my energy if I go low and like I can't dance as well. Like I'm just kind of out of it. And I also feel like over time my dance like studio friends have also picked up on it. Like they can tell when something's wrong.
Leila, if someone were to see your pump on your arm or the device on your leg to read the blood sugar levels, what's an easy way to ask you about it? Do you welcome conversations about it?
So ever since I was like really young and like when I first got diabetes, I pretty much had a pump right away. Like I did do shots for like a few months before I got a pump, but I've always had a pump like ever since the beginning because it's just way easier in my choice of lifestyle. And my dad and my mom have always told me like it's a superpower. I don't really see it as a nuisance or like something that I have different from everyone else. I kind of have like see it as like something that's special to me. So if I were to tell someone like that is ashamed of having it or like showing it off or whatever, I feel like I would tell them that I see it as like something different about me that no one else has. And it's something that's like unique. When I was younger, when I was like first diagnosed, I would get a little bit frustrated because a lot of people aren't going to ask a 9-year-old what that is. And I kind of slowly learned that it's a good thing that maybe I have this because I can like educate people on it. And also I love when people come up to me and they're like, oh my God, like my sister has that. Like, I feel like if you come about it from a place of like kindness and like you're genuinely interested and you want to know more, then I think it's always a good thing. And I probably would always tell you about it.
Leila, one of our listeners or many of our listeners may share type 1 diabetes with you, or someone might have just found out that they also are living with type 1 diabetes. What would your advice be to them? What would you tell them about your superpower?
Honestly, I feel like it's something that like builds character. I think most people who don't have type 1 wouldn't understand. Like they don't understand the responsibility, and some people would see it as like you're growing up really fast because you have to start to like take care of yourself like really young if you get it young. But I feel like it's also something that kind of brings you above everyone else. That's why I say it's a superpower, because, like superheroes have like this special thing about them that no one else has. I'm more responsible because of it. So if you have gotten type 1 recently, or if you have type 1, I would tell you, like, don't be ashamed of it, because there's people who aren't at your level of maturity yet, and I feel like it's a good thing that you have that and you taught yourself that.
Awesome. Leila, thank you so much for sharing the story of your superpower. And thank you, Special Correspondent Sarah Adler, for bringing that story to us. How about you? Do you have a superpower? Get your grown-up to help and send me an email. Tell me all about it at kidsmorningnews@gmail.com. Time for today's riddle. Yesterday was, you can hold it in your left hand, but not your right. What is it? It's your right elbow. Try holding that in your right hand. All right, today's riddle. It's often found on the ground, but never gets dirty. What is it? Often found on the ground, never gets dirty. Answer on Friday. Almost springtime. That means it's time to pack your bags. If you're a migratory bird, those are birds that travel in the fall to spend the winter in one place, often close to the equator, and then travel again in the spring to spend summer someplace else, further north or south of the equator. Just like people driving on highways, birds have paths they follow on each trip. They're called flyways. Highways, flyways, I get it. They could be hundreds of miles wide, but in general, they follow routes that give the birds what they need along the way. Food, places to rest, favorable winds, and no big obstacles like mountain ranges. There are 4 major flyways here in North America: the Atlantic Flyway, the Mississippi, the Central, and the Pacific. And there are 6 more around the world used by birds in Asia, Africa, Europe, and Australia. Birds seem to migrate for food. Some places that birds are able to find a food source for the winter, migration stops. And many migrate in flocks. Migration is a lot of work, and being in a flock helps cut down on the wind resistance birds work against. How do they find their way? This is a question that no one has an easy answer for. Birds might use a combination of things. They might see landmarks or use the sun or stars. Some might be able to sense the Earth's magnetic field. Or, and I think this might be it, each of them might have a little tiny GPS tucked under their wings. In the weather today, things are finally calming down in the northwest as that huge snowstorm winds down. Could see some rain in Southern California, though, and rain again here in the northeast, because this is apparently where the rain likes to hang out. All right, that's the episode. Thank you very much for listening. A big thank you once again to Leila for sharing her superpower with us. If you liked this episode, please like it and leave a review on your podcast app. And subscribe, share, and spread the word about the Kids Morning News Network. Want to send a shout out to our newest supporter, Heather. Grown-ups, please consider becoming a supporter. There's a link in the episode description. I'll be back Friday. I hope you are too. From the KMNN Newsroom, this is Alex signing off.